Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Louis Times. Stay tuned as we bring you the top 10 news of the day. The Indian Air Force has located the wreckage of a transport aircraft that went missing nearly 7.5 years ago. The wreckage was found at a depth of approximately 3.4 kilometers in the Bay of Bengal and 310 kilometers off the coast of Chennai. The discovery was made through the analysis of images captured by an underwater vehicle that was deployed by the National Institute of Ocean Technology. The Defense Ministry confirmed that the wreckage belonged to an AN-32 aircraft. The missing aircraft, with registration number K2743, disappeared on July 22 in 2016 during a mission, and it had 29 personnel on board. Terrorists attacked army vehicles in Jammu and Kashmir's Pooch on Friday evening, prompting the soldiers within to return fire. There are no reports of injuries or deaths so far. However, the attack comes as the high-ranking officers, including Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi, the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of Northern Command, are in Pooch to evolve strategies to deal with frequent terror strikes. This is the second terror attack on the army in this region in the past few weeks, after an ambush in Pooch's Dera Ki Gully killed 4 soldiers and injured 5 others. The attack this evening in the district's Krishna Ghati sector took place 40 kilometers from that location. The Jharkhand government has finally declared 158 blocks in 17 districts of the state as drought affected, where about 1.5 million farmers were impacted. Only 4 districts in Jharkhand recorded normal rainfall during the monsoon season in 2023. And 19 districts had recorded less than normal rainfall. Since its formation 23 years ago, Jharkhand has been declared drought hit 10 times. And this data is crucial because around 80% of the state's population, who live in approximately 32,500 villages, rely solely on farming or related activities for a living. India's retail inflation hit 4-month high of 5.69% in December 2023. The data released by National Statistical Office, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, informed on Friday. The CPI inflation surged from 5.5% in November and continued to remain close to the Reserve Bank of India's tolerance range of 2 to 6%. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has requested and urged Prime Minister Modi to declare Bengali as a classical language. In her letter, the Bengal's Chief Minister requested the Prime Minister to issue necessary instructions to the Ministry of Home Affairs so that Bengali is accepted as a classical language at the earliest. Mamata Banerjee said that Bengali is the second most spoken language in the country and 7th most spoken in the world. She also hit out at the center for not listening to the state's long-pending demand of changing its name from West Bengal to Bangla. Alphabet's Google said on Wednesday that it is laying off hundreds of employees across multiple teams, with Fitbit co-founders James Park and Eric Friedman also leaving the company as the tech giant continues to cut costs. Google said it will lay off hundreds at its voice assistant unit, while a few hundred roles are being eliminated in the hardware team responsible for Pixel, Nest and Fitbit, with the majority of people in the augmented reality team being let go. Hundreds of roles in the search giant's central engineering team are also being impacted, as the company said. India's blue chip indexes, Nifty and Sensex, hit fresh all-time highs today, led by gains in IT services firms after their results and commentary exceeded expectations, elevating concerns about weak demand. Infosys, TCS, Tech Mahindra, Wipro and HCL Tech were the top 5 gainers on the Nifty 50 index, climbing between 3% and 7%. In Asian markets, Tokyo, Shanghai and Hong Kong were trading higher, while Seoul quoted lower. The US markets ended mostly in green on Thursday. Global oil benchmark Brent crude jumped 1.82% to $78.82 a barrel. The US has resumed importing oil from Russia for the first time in more than a year, despite the ongoing sanctions imposed on Moscow over its military intervention in Ukraine, according to a Sputnik Globe report. The imports were made possible by specific licenses granted by the US Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, which oversees the enforcement of sanctions. The US banned the import of oil, gas, and other energy resources from Russia in March 2022. along with other sanctions targeting Russian individuals, entities, and sectors. The reasons behind the US decision to resume importing Russian oil are unclear, but some experts have speculated that it could be related to the global energy crisis, the geopolitical tensions with China, or the diplomatic efforts to resolve the Ukraine conflict. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is making a surprise visit to Ukraine to meet Vladimir Zelensky as the UK announced it will provide a £2.5 billion in military aid to the country over the coming year. It comes as the Ukrainian president presses allies in the West to provide the country with the more support to fight back against Russian forces, amid fears that interest in the war is flagging among allies as the war drags on. The UK has been among the most vocal backers of Ukraine, with Mr. Zelensky visiting London early last year in a historic trip. The Prime Minister and Mr. Zelensky will use the one-day visit to sign a new UK-Ukraine agreement on security cooperation after G7 countries agreed at last year's NATO summit to sign bilateral security assurances with the country. In the Australian Open 2024, Sumit Nagal becomes the first Indian in 3 years to qualify for a Grand Slam singles mains draw. The top-ranked Indian singles players defeated Slovakia's Alex Molcan, did not lose a set across qualifying to reach the main draw of a major for the fourth time in his career.